Out of all of the videos that I'm doing in this series, I think that motion is probably the most important one. And the reason why I think it's the most important one is because it connects to so many pieces of our technique hierarchy. It connects to values, it connects to tone, it connects to tuning, it connects to style, it connects to everything. And motion is extremely important for beginning orchestra students, and teaching them how to move correctly is one of the best gifts that you can give to them. Now let's think about beginning orchestra for a second. And you have students who enroll in orchestra, they start in August, and a lot of times they have to make the decision whether or not they're going to continue in orchestra. And that date seems to be, in most districts, getting pushed back earlier and earlier every year. And so by October in some districts, they have to already decide whether or not they want to take this orchestra class again. That doesn't give us a whole lot of time to create buy-in to the program or to make students feel successful, like I'm good at this and this is something worth investing more of my time in, and it's something that I can continue to do. And so with motion, we can make them feel successful right away and feel like they're accomplishing something. So the orchestra programs that I see that are really struggling, by October, by the time where they're starting to fill out their choice cards for next year, they have limited experience with the bow. They're plucking a lot of stuff. They're learning a lot of rudimentary stuff, and it's just kind of boring from the beginning. And so with motion, you can get a better feel and connection to the instrument. You get them to move and feel good. It's kinesthetic. They're feeling good about what they're doing, and they're feeling successful. And just learning how to move is something that everybody can do. It's really not that difficult. And some students are going to learn this faster than others. Some students come to you with more coordination, particularly those who have been involved in like dance classes or gymnastics, and in some cases athletics, where they're just naturally more gifted towards coordination, so they're going to be able to move more effectively, and those are the students that are really going to enjoy this process. Others, you might have to help a little bit more, but it doesn't take a whole lot to get the students to start moving, and then once they start moving, they feel really great about what they're doing. El Sistema was one of the greatest music education systems in the history of the world. They produced some of the greatest youth symphonies, and they produced some of the world's finest musicians over a very long period of time. And one of the things that they really got right was teaching motion. That was a big part of their system. That was a big part of their education, is getting their students to move, and they did very well with this. And so what did this do for the students that were in Sistema? It helped with their feeling of success. It connected to their values of the program, and it really helped with their retention, getting the kids to stay in the system and continue to work through some of the harder things, and put up with some of the difficulties of learning an instrument or the voice or whatever. And they just did a really good job with motion, and I think that's why they were so successful to a large extent. I think we can learn a lot from this as orchestra directors, and I think we can take that and incorporate it into our programs and make sure that our students are moving effectively, so that we can establish that as part of their values, make them feel good about what they're doing kinesthetically, make sure that they're learning the coordination skills, feeling successful, so that they're going to stay into their next year of orchestra. And that's a big step, going from the beginning year to the next layer. That's one of the links in the chain that tends to be the weakest as far as retention goes. And so establishing motion early on can really help with this. So there are some techniques that are difficult to pull off and take a lot of time to learn, and there are some techniques that are simpler and don't take as much time. And so the techniques that are the simplest, that have the most benefit to the students, that's like the low-hanging fruit. You can pick the apple off of the shortest branch instead of having to climb up the whole tree to get something on top. And motion is low-hanging fruit. It makes a tremendous difference in your sound. It makes a tremendous difference in the way that you play your instrument and the way you experience playing your instrument. And it's so easy to do. It's so easy to get kids to move. So if you evaluate your orchestra and you think, well, what's the difference between my orchestra and the New York Philharmonic? And you just look at it visually. Well, a lot of directors will have to say, well, the string players in the New York Philharmonic, they move a lot, every single one of them. And every player in my orchestra is just kind of sitting still like a statue. Of course, the New York Philharmonic is a professional orchestra, but it's also a very competitive environment, and those players are in there for a reason, and that motion builds their success, and that's part of the reason why they're there, is because they move so fluidly and so naturally. It would be pretty unusual to see a professional level player that does not incorporate motion into their playing. Some of them do this very well and move in a way that's conducive to technique, and some of them just move like they're dancing. We're not going to be focusing on that aspect of motion. In this video series, we're going to be focusing on the motion that translates into better technique and better sound. So in this video series, we're going to take the left hand and put that aside for a while, and that's very difficult for a lot of us to do, and a lot of our method books are, especially the beginning method books, are very left-hand centric. We're gonna push all that to the side, and we're just gonna talk about how to move.